All right, get this. I was messing around with this word association game the other day, and it totally blew my mind. You know how sometimes your brain just makes these crazy leaps?
Like what?
Like if someone says black, white, you instantly shout, checkers.
Huh. Yeah. That's your brain making connections based on patterns and relationships.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
So the game I was playing takes this to like a whole other level.
Oh.
It's called the game of 2 by 2, and it's like, I don't know, a word puzzle on steroids.
Sounds intense.
And we're diving deep into it today, with your help, of course.
Happy to decode the fun.
So imagine this. You get 2 pairs of words right.
Okay.
The first pair is like a key, and it shows you the relationship that you need to unlock the missing word in the second pair.
Okay, so it's kind of like deciphering a code.
Exactly.
But instead of numbers and all that, we're using words and concepts.
Exactly. And the source material we've got lays it all out. But let's start with a simple example.
Right.
Let's say the first pair is name.authority. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, a name is given or approved by some kind of authority.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that sets the stage for the second pair, which might be something like space.
Right.
So now the challenge is to figure out what relates to space in the same way that authority relates to name.
I see.
Okay, you see where this is going. So what has that same giving or defining power over a space? On the tip of my tongue.
Think about it. What defines or governs a space?
Hmm.
What provides structure and order to it?
A system, like a solar system or a filing system, it all clicks into place. Name.authority_space.system.
There you go.
That's so cool.
And you see, this seemingly simple game is already revealing something profound about how our brains work. We're constantly searching for patterns. We're constantly trying to categorize and connect information. It's like a microcosm of how we make sense of the world around us.
Mind blown. And the source goes even deeper, talking about how the game uses these things called templates to create consistent challenges. They even use this fancy phrase, deterministically generating terms. But what that really means is there's a method to the madness.
Right.
It's not just like random word pairings.
Sure, the templates are like blueprints for building these word relationships.
Yes.
They ensure that the game is both logical and solvable, you know?
Yes.
And the source material dives into some fascinating examples showing how these templates can get quite complex.
Okay. I'm already hooked. Let's get to those examples, shall we?
Sure.
One that caught my eye was license.company product line.
Oh.
So now we have to figure out what relates to product line in the same way that company relates to license.
This one adds another layer of complexity, doesn't it?
It's-
Because first you need to understand the relationship within each pair. A company grants a license, and a product line encompasses multiple products. But then you need to connect those relationships to figure out the missing word.
Okay, let's break this down. A company grants a license. So what, grants or encompasses a product line in a similar way? This is making my brain do backflips.
Think bigger, broader. What structure or system would contain a product line?
An industry. Boom. License.company, product line.industry. That's it, right?
Yeah.
An industry is that bigger picture that holds different product lines, just like a company manages the licenses for its products. I'm starting to see how this game really makes you think on multiple levels.
And that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
The source material goes on to explore even more intricate examples and techniques. And remember that idea of broader context we touched on earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it plays a crucial role in solving some of these tougher 2x2 puzzles.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this broader context stuff.
It's not just about the direct relationship between the words themselves, but also about understanding the space or category that they belong to.
Okay.
Let's go back to that name.authority space system example for a second.
You mean the one that kicked off this whole mental adventure? I'm ready for round 2.
Exactly. If we look closely, we see that both system and industry, from our second example, they represent large-scale structures or frameworks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's like there's this hidden layer of connections.
Right.
It's not just about finding the missing word. It's also about recognizing those bigger picture links between the pairs.
Precisely. And the source material actually introduces a fascinating technique using a more abstract template. Concept.attributeprinciple.element. And this allows you to create a wider variety of word pairs,
Yeah.
but the underlying logic remains the same.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
unpack that template.
Okay.
So concept and attribute go together. Like if the concept is tree, the attribute could be height, right? But how does that relate to principle and element? My head is spinning a bit.
Don't worry, it'll all become clear. It's like this. If tree relates to height, then what principle or concept has a similar relationship to an element?
Okay, I need to wrap my brain around this. Give me a second. This is like those logic puzzles where you have to figure out who lives in which house and owns what pet.
It's a similar type of mental challenge. You're using deduction and pattern recognition to fill in the missing pieces. And the beauty of this game is that it gets you thinking creatively and strategically at the same time.
This is where I get super excited. The source material mentions that with this concept.attribute template, you can come up with your own word pairs. It's like the possibilities are endless.
That's the beauty of it. You can really stretch your imagination and come up with some brain-bending challenges. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's dive into some specific examples from the source material so you can really see this template in action.
All right, hit me with those examples. I'm ready to put my word sleuthing skills to the test.
All right, let's jump into an example from the source material using this concept.attribute template. It gives us book.author. So a book is created by an author. What principle or concept has a similar relationship to an element?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so we need something that creates or originates. Could it be law, citizen? A law is created by citizens, right?
That's an interesting thought. You're definitely thinking along the right lines, considering the creative process. However, let's think about the specific relationship between a book and an author. An author doesn't just create any book, they originate a specific one. Is that how laws and citizens work?
You're right. A law isn't created by one specific citizen. It's more of a collective process. So we need something where the principle or concept is responsible for a specific element. This is making my brain sweat.
Remember, there's a method to this madness. Let's look for a parallel to the tangible relationship between a physical book and the author who wrote it. What else has that kind of direct connection?
Tangible, specific. Oh, I think I've got it. How about recipe.dish? A recipe, as a principle or set of instructions, leads to a specific dish. It's that one-to-one relationship we were looking for.
You nailed it. Book.author recipe.dish fits perfectly within the template and showcases the logic of the game. It's not just about finding any word that fits. It's about finding the word that maintains the same type of relationship.
And like as we play more, we start to see these patterns and connections more easily, right? It's like we're training our brains to think in a whole new way.
Absolutely. The game of 2x2 is more than just a game. It's a tool for sharpening our cognitive skills. It encourages us to think critically, analyze relationships, and make connections between seemingly disparate concepts. It's like a mental workout for your brain.
And the best part is, it's actually fun. I can see how this could be a great way to challenge yourself and your friends. You could even turn it into a competition.
I'm sure things could get quite competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of challenges, the source material dives into some even more complex examples, using templates that really push the boundaries of abstract thinking.
Yeah.
And remember that broader context idea we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
It becomes even more crucial in these advanced scenarios.
Oh, yeah, the hidden layer of connections. So it's not just about the words themselves, but also about understanding the categories or systems they belong to. I'm ready to level up. Give me another brain teaser.
Challenge accepted. Let's try this one. Emotion.expression. An emotion is expressed through various means. What principle or concept relates to an element in a similar way?
Okay, let me think. This one feels trickier. Emotions are internal, but they manifest outwardly through expressions. So we need a principle or concept that has a similar internal-external relationship with its element.
You're on the right track. Consider the way emotions are abstract, while expressions are more concrete. We need to find a principle or concept that embodies a similar transition from abstract to concrete.
Abstract to concrete. What about idea.invention? An idea, which is an abstract concept, can lead to a tangible invention, which is a concrete element. Does that fit?
Excellent. You've successfully applied the concept to broader context to solve this puzzle. Emotion.expression idea.invention maintains the same relationship between abstract concepts and their concrete manifestations. You're really getting the hang of this.
I'm starting to feel like a 2x2 master, but you know what I find truly fascinating?
What's that?
The idea that we can actually create our own templates. The source material touches on this, suggesting we use different abstract terms to come up with entirely new challenges.
That's what makes this game so engaging. It's not just about solving predetermined puzzles, it's about flexing our creative muscles and coming up with our own unique variations. Imagine the possibilities. You could create templates based on historical events, scientific principles, even pop culture references.
This is blowing my mind. We could spend hours coming up with crazy 2x2 combinations. But I do have one burning question. The source mentions deterministically generating terms, which sounds super technical.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean in the context of this game?
It sounds complicated, but it's actually quite simple. Deterministically generating terms means that there's a clear and logical way to determine the missing word in each pair. It's not about random guessing or intuition. There's a method to the madness, ensuring that the game remains both challenging and fair.
So it's like there's a built-in system of rules that ensures every puzzle has a solvable solution. I like that. It takes the pressure off, knowing that there's always a logical path to follow.
Exactly. It's like a detective solving a case. There are clues to be found, patterns to be recognized, and ultimately a satisfying solution to be reached. And the more you play the game of 2x2, the better you become at spotting those clues and cracking the code.
Okay, now I'm really curious to see how these templates and deterministically generated terms work in practice. What other examples does the source material provide? Give me something that will really test my 2x2 skills.
All right, how about this one? Animal.habitat. It uses that abstract template. Concept.attribute principle.element. So an animal lives in a habitat. We're looking for a principle or concept that houses or encompasses an element in a similar way.
Okay, an animal lives in a habitat. So we're looking for a principle or concept that houses or encompasses an element in a similar way. This feels like those nesting dolls where each one fits inside the next.
You're getting warm. Think about the bigger picture here. What system or structure contains both animals and their habitats? It's something essential for their survival and interconnectedness.
Ooh, I see where you're going with this. It's the ecosystem. Animals and their habitats are all part of a larger ecosystem. So the answer would be animal.habitat.ecosystem.environment.
Right. You got it. And notice how we didn't just randomly pick a word related to environment.
Right.
We arrived at the answer by following the logic of the template and considering the broader context. That's what deterministically generating terms is all about.
It's like we're cracking a code, but instead of numbers, we're using words and concepts. And the more we play, the better we get at deciphering the patterns and relationships.
Exactly. And that's where the real value of the game of 2x2 lies. It's not just a fun way to pass the time. It's a mental workout that strengthens our cognitive abilities. It helps us to develop critical thinking skills, enhance pattern recognition, and improve our ability to make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas.
And the source material even suggests that this type of thinking can be applied beyond the game itself. It mentions that recognizing patterns and understanding relationships is essential in so many areas of life, from solving problems at work to navigating complex social situations.
Think about it. We're constantly bombarded with information. Our brains are constantly trying to make sense of it all. The game of 2x2 gives us a framework for organizing and connecting those pieces of information in a meaningful way. So we're training our brains to become more efficient and adaptable.
So it's not just about mastering word association. It's about developing a mental toolkit that we can use in all aspects of our lives. That's pretty powerful. But you know what really excites me?
What's that?
The idea that we can create our own 2x2 templates.
That's where things get really interesting. Imagine designing challenges based on your own interests and areas of expertise. You could create a 2x2 game about history, science, music, anything. The possibilities are endless.
So let's say I wanted to create a template based on, I don't know, cooking. What kind of abstract terms could I use? This feels like a whole new level of brain-bending fun.
Well, you could start with something like ingredient.flavor or
Ugh.
maybe technique result. Think about the key elements and relationships within your chosen topic, and then use those as the foundation for your template.
This is making my head spin in the best way possible. And just think, by creating our own templates, we're not just playing the game, we're contributing to it. We're expanding the possibilities and challenging others to think in new ways.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows, maybe your cooking-themed 2x2 game will be the next viral sensation.
Haha, right. Okay, so let's bring this all back to our listener. We've explored the game of 2x2, from its basic mechanics to its potential for cognitive growth and creative expression. What are the key takeaways here?
First and foremost, this game highlights the power of layered thinking. It's not just about understanding the individual words, it's about recognizing the relationships within pairs, between pairs, and across broader contexts.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing deeper and deeper levels of meaning with each puzzle we solve. And as we do that, we're strengthening those crucial cognitive muscles, pattern recognition, abstract thinking, problem solving, the works.
And beyond the cognitive benefits, the game of 2 by 2 also sparks our creativity and encourages us to think outside the box. Whether we're using the provided templates or creating our own, this game reminds us that learning can be fun, challenging, and endlessly rewarding.
So, to wrap things up, here's a final thought-provoking question for our listener. What kind of 2 by 2 template could you come up with? What abstract terms would you use to create a whole new set of challenges for this game? Maybe you'll be inspired by something you're passionate about. Art, music, history, science, anything goes. Give it a try and see what connections you uncover. You might surprise yourself.
And who knows, maybe you'll even invent the next viral word association game. But even if you don't, we encourage you to dive into the game of 2 by 2. It's a fantastic way to sharpen your mind, flex your creative muscles, and see the world from a fresh perspective.